Because welcome back to Buzzin', everybody. I'm Relix.
I'm Juice.
And I'm Nappy. And
hey, I'm Corey.
C-Dub, Panda,
Panda.
Corey,
the last
Panda,
episode.
C-Dubs, your choice.
This is part two. And I'm gonna have to mute that
That's
because
about enough for that one.
that's way too loud.
maybe
So
people want to
let's
hear
just
that.
figure it out.
You know
Maybe
what?
they don't
You
want
figure
they don't
it
want
out.
their ears anymore, Kevin.
I'm gonna have to figure it out now. I have to now.
It's off the Richter scale.
So, anyways, last we talked about the Xbox Series X. We talked about the coronavirus. We talked about Harvey Weinstein, not to be confused with Jeffrey Epstein.
Who did not kill himself?
Thank you. And agreed.
Conspiracy nuts.
So now let's dive into what we didn't get a chance to do in the beginning and people will be seeing in the beginning of part 2. And let's talk about Mr. Corey C-Dub Panda. Corey,
That's me.
do me a favor.
Yes.
I need you to give me, you guys have all seen the quiz, so you probably know what we're doing as we go through it. He will not. Give me an animal, your favorite animal, and it can't be dog or cat because you're a dog person. Give me your favorite animal.
A cheetah.
Cheetah.
Good pick, good pick.
Give me,
They're fast. I like speed.
okay, fast. Give me 2 other adjectives to describe a cheetah. Can't be color. Can't really be
No,
color.
so we'll go anxious. A lot of cheetahs actually get support dogs when they go into zoos. And then
Yeah,
they get
they
raised
do.
with the dog.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
I didn't know
they
that.
have it
That's
at the
crazy.
Columbus Zoo, man. In the cheetah exhibit, there's a dog.
That's
there.
crazy. I didn't know
It's
that.
really cool.
Huh.
So we'll also go caring because mother cheetahs take care of their pups.
I like
Sure.
that. I like
Kittens,
that.
I think
Okay.
is a better word.
Give me your favorite article of clothing that you own and wear. It has to be specific.
Oh god, had to
This
be.
bad boy
Pashmina.
right here.
Is it that one specifically?
This pashmina specifically, I do own multiple, but this is my favorite.
Okay. Give me 3 adjectives to describe that pashmina.
Soft,
Okay.
It is very soft.
comforting,
Okay.
and I don't know. What's a good third one for a scarf? Pashmina.
You tell us.
I don't know, dude.
It's your quiz.
I don't know. I can't think of a third word to describe
Just
it.
a third
Three
word.
reasons-
Thing that comes off the top
3
of your
reasons
head.
why you bought it. Or a reason why you bought it.
I mean, I buy it to go to concerts. I wear them to every concert
So
I
it's
go
fashionable.
to. Fashionable. That's a good one.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So now the last question is your favorite body of water, and this does not need to be specific. It needs to be pool, pond, river, lake, ocean. It can literally be pool, but any your favorite body of water.
Come on, Corey.
Said
Chemistry.
Lakes.
It's off. It's off.
We all 3 did different things.
Yeah, we
All right.
did.
What was your 3 adjectives to describe a lake?
Peaceful.
Okay.
So I was gonna say tranquil, but that's just another word for peaceful. Fun.
Okay.
Never had a bad time at a lake, especially up in my parents' my aunt and uncle's lake house.
Never had a bad time in the lake.
Never have.
Okay.
I don't know why we're all laughing, but
You'll find out.
You'll
soon.
play it out.
So I don't know. What's a good word to say? Like a great place to go with your friends.
Would you say real quick? Hang on. 'Cause
Awesome.
You're taking me too far.
Awesome.
You're going too far. All right, get real quick
Cold.
though. I have to ask this. Okay, cold. When you said, hang on, because when you said that you've never had a bad time at a lake, would you say that anybody you've ever gone to a lake with has had a bad time?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so let's go through this.
Main person that does that would be Relix here. He came with me to my aunt and uncle's lake house, and he did not have a great time there. I will say that.
I bet he did not. He definitely did not.
I really hope he didn't.
All right.
That's hilarious.
I have all the data here. All right, let's go through it.
Okay.
Calculate it.
The first thing we asked you, C-Dub, was your favorite animal. You said cheetah. I asked you for 3 adjectives. You said fast, anxious, and caring. The way a person perceives their favorite animal is supposed to be the way they perceive themselves. So you perceive yourself as a fast, anxious, and caring cheetah.
I agree with that.
I can
Pretty
see that.
completely,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm fast.
I mean, from kindergarten on, yeah, you've been pretty fast.
Speed camps at
Had a
40.
decent-
Kindergarten on.
So the
Well, before
anxiety's
that,
getting
Always won
better.
races.
Had it pretty bad there for a while, but it's much better now, and I do love my friends. Why else would I drive an hour and a half when I'm going to do it again in 3 days just to come up for my buddy's
Nothing
birthday?
better to do.
So, and I appreciate that.
we
So,
love you too.
so the second question was your favorite article of clothing, and you said the pajama.
Pashmina.
Pashmina.
You said, what'd you call it?
Pajuma.
That sounds like an Italian noodle.
All right, so I asked you for three descriptive adjectives for that article of clothing. You said soft, comforting, and fashionable. The way that you perceive your favorite article of clothing is supposed to translate to the way others perceive you. So they perceive you as soft, comforting, and fashionable.
Fashionable, maybe not, because
Not anymore.
I'm not very
I mean,
fashionable.
you guys are Pashmina on
This
there.
is about the extent
Forget
of
the
what I
hoodie
like.
and
Pashmina.
stuff.
Soft.
Does
I
mean
have been
outfit.
told I give the best hugs.
The only time...
Pashmina, if you know what I mean.
Hit them up, ladies.
Hey, the one time I will say it seemed like you were fashionable, but at the time it did not. Okay? And I don't know why I'm saying this
When?
now. Was the one year we went to homecoming, and I thought you had the ugliest homecoming outfit on, and I don't know that everyone agreed with your fashion statement at the time. I can't say most
We
people
talking
did.
about my skinny jeans with the.
Yes, but
Dude,
what I will
that
say,
The biker look.
what
We'll
I will
get a
say,
picture for you. I looked flame.
what I will
You
say
all
now,
agree.
what I will say now is I feel like today that would have been sick.
It was.
I feel like you were ahead of your time, though. I feel like I looked at you and was like, dude, go get a freaking suit from Men's Warehouse.
Nobody
What are you doing in the
understood.
skinny jeans and the biker vest or whatever it was?
Biker
But looking
vest, I had
back
a
at
bow
it, I'm
tie
like,
on.
dude, you know who it reminds me of? I
Bow
feel
tie
like the
gang.
lead singer. I
Every
feel like
time.
Adam Levine would wear some stuff like that during the Super Bowl halftime show.
We will get a photo for comparison.
We will. We'll put it up on the screen.
He had a shirtless one.
So you
wasn't wearing
so
a shirt.
others perceive you as soft, comforting, and fashionable. Now I asked you a third question.
I'm worried about this one.
Okay,
This one's funny.
I asked you your favorite body of water, Corey. Mm-hmm. Do you remember what you told me?
A lake.
Okay. Now your three adjectives were peaceful, fun, and cold. Now the
But he
way
also
that you
said-
perceive
Okay.
the way that you perceive your favorite body of water is supposed to be the way that you perceive sex. Now, what's interesting is you perceive sex as peaceful and cold. What's more interesting is you perceive sex as fun. And you said you've never had a bad time at a lake, which means you've never had a bad
But
time
he
with sex.
also said
but I
that
asked
Kevin
you
had a
if
bad
anyone you've
time.
ever been to a lake with has had a bad time. I was trying to get you to say a girl or something that you may have engaged in intercourse with. You said I had a bad time at a lake with you.
So the real
You
question
said-
is, Relics, have you ever had a bad time at the lake?
Tell me,
Panda?
tell me.
To be exact, you said...
no,
to
answer
be-
it.
No, hang on. Let me be exact. To be exact, he said, yes, Relics came and had a bad time.
I mean, there was a climactic
Well,
experience.
if you think back to our high school days,
oh
my
God.
bed was not my own. Every time Relics decided to stay the night, he refused to sleep anywhere but my bed.
Yep.
And
Could
I don't
not
know how
sleep
well
without
any of
it.
you know him, but he doesn't sleep with clothes on.
No, but since...
He's in his boxers every night. We're in a bed, a queen size bed
So,
together, and I'm like, Kevin, put
the
a shirt
meme,
on.
the meme from
He
like
says
week
no.
one.
Since... What?
The meme that we had from like week one, or the one I was on, where the kid was like sleeping in this box because it said like, yeah, your friend's
dude, that was
staying over.
hilarious. So let's what else is interesting is I told a story to Rebecca once, speaking of us sleeping together in the same bed. And
Sick.
And what I found funny was, get this, and I don't remember the context of it. It could have been because other people were there. It could have been whatever. But this was the funniest / scariest moment I've ever had in my life with you, sleeping together. Was
If you just joined us,
I'm at your apartment in Cincinnati. We get drunk, whatever. We're drunk.
Oh, one thing
We're drunk
leads
for
to
sure.
another.
I think it was the time we went there and walked through a polar vortex. For,
Oh, for toppers.
Oh,
So-
yeah.
That was great.
so
That
I,
was an awesome night, besides the blizzard that we had to walk a mile through.
So I stayed in this.
Corey was like, I
so-
don't remember any of this.
I fell into the snow 4 times, head first. I was that drunk. Just
So the three of us stay at Corey's
Jesus
apartment
Christ.
in Cincinnati. We go drinking. We walk through a polar vortex. We get topper sticks. We eat them.
What's a topper
delicious.
stick?
It's a place called
deliciousness.
Toppers, and they do sell pizza. But the main thing they're known for is a box of what they call topper sticks, which is essentially take like a big square thing of like garlic cheesy bread and cut it into strips. And then they
sounds
have
good.
different sauces. Their best being Chipotle Ranch, right?
Chipotle ranch.
So it's really
all
good.
day, every day.
So and there's like 40 pieces cut in a large thing. Like it's crazy.
That
So
sounds good.
it's really good. And
smashed
there's
still
bacon
around
on
as soon
top
as
too.
we got
still a
back.
thing.
They're around in
Oh, yeah,
Cincinnati.
down in Cincy, yeah.
So anyways, so I stay in your room. At one point, you got up and used the bathroom. It's like 2 a.m. So I'm like extremely messed up, already asleep.
It had to be at least 4.
It could have been 4, yeah. You got up
we
and
got
used the,
back at like 2.
you got up and used the restroom after we had fallen asleep. You came back, and when you closed the door, you locked it. And I was like, he's gonna take advantage of me.
Sorry, that was just habit. My room was generally messy, and my roommate was very against me smoking weed. and I smoked a lot of weed, so I just always locked the door. So he didn't barge in on me while I was smoking weed.
You have to understand, he didn't have a door lock. He closes the door and he grabs this little metal hook. And
It's
he's
like the ones
click.
you see at hotels that you like put it up and it keeps the door open for you.
And I'm laying
That
in
was
the
my
bed
doors.
like, I remember laying in the bed like, I thought we were about to get busy.
This
No,
is
just
the
kidding.
night.
But when I told Rebecca,
I
told
came and I was
Emphasis
happy.
on I came.
I only told Rebecca that and thought it was funny because remember when around the time like a year after her and I had been together, she started calling like me or you like each other's bottom.
Yeah.
Because she said like
Yeah.
so when I told her the story about when I was sleeping in Cincy and you locked the door, she thought it was hilarious.
Who's the power bottom?
Anyways,
That's that bottom move right there.
so we got to learn a little bit more
You're gonna
about
learn tonight.
we got to learn a little bit more about C-Dub. So I appreciate you letting us in on your life without even knowing it.
Yeah.
So the third story I had to get back to it real quick, and I will show you guys this video on mute while we're talking about it. So what happened here was at a let me mute that, like I said I would. It was at an Ole Miss basketball game, and let me grab her name real quick. This elderly lady, Mary Ann Wakefield, on the basketball court. She's an Ole Miss basketball fan. And she putts the ball, and I'm playing the video for the viewers at home here on the video now. And she putts putts the basketball. She putts a golf ball across the entire basketball court. I think it said it was an 86-foot putt. Mm-hmm. And she has to make it in this tiny hole. Look at this.
She was 86. The putt was 94.
Yes, good
94,
call.
yeah.
So look, makes it in the little hole right there, gets a brand new
Wins
Nissan.
A brand new Nissan.
Looks like an Altima from the
I thought
picture.
she was gonna have a heart attack.
He said it looks like an Ultima.
So the people are going crazy. I mean, how, they
She can't even believe it. She's
Look, and here's the thing. The
greatest
company or whatever that, if Nissan was the one who did it, or if it was like a specific, like Georgia's Nissan, whatever, whoever did that for the Ole Miss game was like, we don't ever got to worry about that. And then this
they're like-
lady-
It's like the movie Tropic Thunder. No, not Tropic Thunder. Tropicals with Will Ferrell, where it's the basketball team.
Yeah.
They do the prize
That's
winning of
semi-pro.
like a
Semi-pro.
$50,000 check. Yeah, semi-pro.
Yeah.
They do a $50,000 half court or full court check, and the dude makes it, and he's just like, "Shit, no!"
have you seen that?
He goes to try to cash it, and he brings back. He goes, "It's written in glitter, man. Like I can't cash
Speaking
it."
of that, have you guys ever seen the prank? It used to be like a really popular channel on YouTube where they would prank each other back and forth. This is like probably 10 years ago. The two guys would prank each other back and forth. I think they were dormies in college, and then it just continued, or they had an apartment together or whatever. They pranked each other back and forth. The last one I saw, which was probably the most popular video on the channel, was one of the guys set it up with this basketball game. Okay, I think it was a college basketball game, but like a single A basketball game, like a D1. It was a big basketball game. Let's say it was like Michigan State or something. Okay, and
Wait a
he
minute.
got
Okay, never mind.
he got it set up to where his buddy, who he was pranking back at the time, would get called up for the halftime court shot to win like a bunch of money. He also got it set up to where everyone who came to that game was in on it. Everybody. The stadium was filled for this basketball game. And his buddy, it was a blindfolded behind the back half court shot. His buddy shoots it, and everybody went wild. So the guy like took off his blindfold and looked over and thought he'd made it. So everyone's like, whoa, and everyone's like freaking out. And the guy comes up to him, he's like, congratulations, you've won, blah, blah. And the guy's like freaking out. He's like, yes, yes, yes. And then his buddy who was pranking him back like comes out on the court, and everyone starts cracking up. And dude, he was so upset.
That's funny.
Because he missed by like a mile. It's hilarious. I'll have to show you guys. It's
That's
so
hilarious.
funny.
Speaking of backwards basketball shots, you remember when we used to do trick shots all the time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good time. I remember crap talking everybody, walking up and sinking a backwards
There were battles.
court-esque shot first try, and everyone thought I could, and I rubbed it all in well, not juices here, into everybody's
Oh, I
face.
can't do this? Watch me.
Just a little,
Half court.
get at me.
I still don't think you can. What was the sport that we had invented?
So, is it speedball?
Was it called speedball?
Yeah.
I think
Speedball
so. We
was
would
the
run
matter.
I
around
only
in
played it
circles.
like once or twice.
No, we played it all the time.
We did,
Well,
yeah.
I personally only played it
We
once
would
or
run
twice,
around in
but-
circles in my cul-de-sac.
Cul-de-sac.
And throw footballs at each other, and if you got hit with the football and didn't catch it, you were out.
football. And I'm gonna be honest.
That's fucking dodgeball.
Kinda, yeah.
I think I literally. I remember sleeping at your house that night, and literally in my mind thinking about like something to do that would be fun, involved a ball or football or whatever, but that would also be like a slight workout. And so I was like, okay.
Wow.
I was like, you
Anything?
have to constantly be running.
Can't
and you're
help
gonna
still.
there's a single football, so whether it's 4 people or 9 people, and the ball randomly, like people running and they would have to turn and like, and then if the ball hits you, your hands, your leg, or whatever, if it was going to hit you, you had to be able to catch it, or if it was clearly to you, like in your vicinity.
And it was a catchable ball.
And if you
had to
if
catch
you
it.
hit it or it hit you and dropped it, you dropped.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because like if you went for it and you couldn't reach it because it was too far away from you, it didn't matter. But if it clipped you and you didn't catch it, you were out, and the rest of people just kept running around the cul-de-sac. So like you had to constantly be moving too. It was actually really fun.
Okay.
So I actually think our other most fun game we ever invented was playing with the torpedoes in my pool.
That was so much fun.
That was the best game ever. We
So we had
dive
these
underwater, throw torpedoes at each other, had to get it to the back wall, and that
Yeah.
was a goal.
Trying to hold your breath.
Did you ever
long
see-
enough not to get a goal scored?
You ever
against
seen those pool torpedoes? They literally
Yeah,
look
yeah.
like a torpedo.
Yeah, yeah.
And then when you like slam them, they'll like fly sometimes.
Yeah.
So we would do that, but we would sit at opposite sides of the pool. And the game was you had to be underwater, so like holding your breath. And while the other person like shot it, you had to be able to like defend it and not let it touch the wall behind you. It was actually
If it
sick.
hit
The
touch the
wall
wall,
it
it was
count
a
as a
point.
goal. Yeah.
It was
So in
such a
other
fun
words,
game.
you could have just like
You
spidered
take
that
turns
thing.
like
And
getting under the water, trying to hold your breath, and like your partner would go up, take a breath real quick. And
oh
then
yeah,
come
we
back
played
under.
2v2
Yeah.
too.
It was a great game.
You were
Never lost.
still undefeated, I think.
Never
in
lost.
1v1. In
Never
1v1s.
once.
Never
I remember we did try to play it again. One of the most recent times we were all
As
at my
adults?
house. It was significantly harder because
As
I don't know
adults.
if you can tell just by looking at us, but me and Relics here aren't in the best shape of our lives compared to playing high school football every day.
The thing about this, like that
I-
speedball game that you guys played, imagine getting hit with a football nowadays.
Oh, I would cry.
How hard it would.
I would cry. I bruise like a peach, guys. Like, this would
I'm
not be
done.
good.
Bruce like a peach.
Dude, imagine the last 20 people we went out and played backyard football with and going out and playing backyard
my.
football.
I could run for 3
break a
seconds and then I would probably fall over and need about 20 minutes to recover.
Not
It
just
was
that,
terrible.
Yeah.
but imagine
100%.
imagine us now without pads, all about 200, if not plus. Some of us 240, 230
230.
plus, 252. And imagine us just like meeting each other in the hole with no pads on.
Oh my god.
It would just hurt so much for
So
both
much
parties.
pain.
For
The
both
last
parties.
person that I met, like on like as soon as he caught the ball, we played backyard football. It was Ike. Ike Pack. This dude was just solid muscle. He caught like a little screen pass. I'm playing like linebacker. He's my man. I come out. I meet him as soon as he catches it, but he does what Ike loves to do, and he dropped his head. As soon as I met him, he dropped his head straight into mine. Dude, I just instantly fell to the floor. Like, oh, my head's ringing. I
Speaking
can't
of
hear anything.
Ike Pack, I'm actually going to be going to a concert with him on Thursday.
Hey.
Yeah.
He's into that?
Yeah, well, he's not. He texted me about it after he saw like me posting
He's
about it
not, but
online, and he's
I
like,
talked him into it.
"Hey, that looks like a lot of fun. When are you going again?" And I'm like, "Oh shit, dude, there's one coming right up on Thursday in Columbus."
He's coming.
And he bought a ticket. It's Excision. Don't know if anybody knows who that is. Pretty heavy EDM guy. Gonna be a great show. Can't wait for it. You have no idea.
No clue. Justin, do you have any
No
more
idea.
juice? Do you have any more stories? or
So
anything?
yeah, I do. So something I thought was kind of cool. So this is for the sporting world. So the girls, the U.S. women's national soccer team. Okay, they're really good, by the way. I don't know if you they just won the World Cup this
They've won
past
it, like,
summer.
They
3 out of the
always
last
win the
4
World
years.
Cup.
They're good. They're really good. So they are actually suing the United States Soccer Foundation. They're suing the United States Soccer Foundation for $66 million in damages based off discriminatory, like things, right?
Actions.
Yeah.
So
So,
practically,
basically,
like,
basically
sexism?
what it is, yeah, sexism. Because basically what it is, they don't get paid nearly the amount of money
No.
that the men's team does, and the men's team is terrible.
Didn't they like last year
Okay.
actually start getting paid somewhat decent?
They got paid better, but it's not nearly,
Yeah.
still not
Still
even
not the
close
same.
to what the men's. And the men's team is terrible. They are trash. They didn't even qualify for the World Cup.
Right.
The women's won the damn thing, and they're still not getting paid. So it's another thing of pretty much they're suing the U.S. women or the U.S. Soccer Federation, whatever you want to call it. But so I thought that was cool. And I'm just like, you go, you know what I mean? And
Fight
it's
for
like
what you want.
Yeah, and I like when I see shit like that. And I'm gonna be a dad here, but I have a 6-year-old daughter, and I always see shit like that. And I'm always like, "You go, girl." I'm always, that's how I am. That's how I am. It's really, but No, I thought that was cool, and I hope that they get what they deserve because they do
will.
deserve
Oh my
it.
gosh.
They're not just as good; they're better than the men.
They're
It'd be
the
different.
number one soccer team, women's soccer team in the world.
Exactly.
world.
It'd be different if they came out, they placed within like top 20, maybe like around like 18, 19. But no, they win every single year for the past over the past decade. They've kind of dominated.
They've dominated. Yeah.
Say,
So at that point, you might as well get more money, more endorsements, more everything that you deserve.
Especially being in a sport, in any sport, if you play well, you should get paid more.
Exactly.
I actually saw like a meme about the women's soccer team, and it was like someone from Europe trash talking the United States like they tend to do sometimes. And they're like, you know what? For a country that hates soccer and also hates women, they have the best women's soccer team ever.
Yeah.
Also hates women.
I mean, it's sad, but it's true. That's how it is. It's sad, but true. Dude,
This country that hates
they're
women.
ridiculously good. They're ridiculously good. It's unreal.
Oh,
Like
Jesus.
they scored what was that? I think 12 goals against South Korea during the World Cup.
We always
And
talk
they
about
set a
the
record.
Brazil.
Obliterated them.
You Brazil team. Well, we talk about it in Rocket League. Just off of the Brazil game where it was 7-1, and they come out here scoring 12. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's tough.
That's
like-
free play.
Yeah.
You do whatever you want. Whatever game plan that you went into for that game, it's working every
Right.
single time.
like a 12-0 soccer score or football score for my Scottish friends that might watch.
Nah.
But so the
Francais.
equivalent of that is like, let's just take football for instance. That's like beating a team like 70-0. You know what I mean? 80-0.
Yeah.
In
Or if you're
basketball, it's like scoring 250 points in a game.
because you got to think like the average soccer score is probably like 2-1, 3-1, 3-2.
Mm-hmm.
You really don't score more than 3 goals. They scored 12 goals, and yes, it was against like South Korea, and South Korea wasn't like somebody that was really like a threat. But it's the fact that you still did that. You know, it's crazy. And then they just wiped the floor with everyone else in the tournament
Yeah.
at the World Cup. And I love watching the World. I'm not like a huge like soccer fan outside of the World Cup, but when it comes to the World Cup, I'm all like in. You know, I'm in. You know, that's the way it is.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same way. Same thing like with Super Bowl, watching the NFL. How I look at like the teams. If it's not my team, I watch the Buckeyes. If it's the World Cup, if United States is in there, I'm going to watch it.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I'm interested. If
represent.
it's two random countries, then yeah, whatever. It's whoever decides that game. It is what it is. But if it's our country, always represent.
Right.
So staying on the sporting world, this past Saturday. So on Saturday, well, I don't know what the date was, but this past Saturday, we had a pretty premier boxing match that happened. So it was
buddy.
Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury. Did you guys watch the fight, by the way?
No,
Did
what's
not get
highlights?
to.
So
Fury.
so I didn't pay for it. Don't send me to jail. Someone was streaming it on Facebook. Someone
Yes,
live streamed it on
Facebook
Facebook
Live.
from
how I watch
from
it.
their phone, and I watched it like that, and I was so excited. I was like, "Whoever you are, thank you." It was actually somebody from that podcast thing, which I thought was really cool. So if anybody from that podcast page is watching,
Just narrow down the search for the
But,
criminal act.
yeah,
Let them know what Facebook page they belong to. Good.
that's cool. But the whole time I'm sitting there thinking, like, when is this going to get cut off? You know, like. We found you. No, but I thought it was cool. So the fight was really good. I was actually rooting for Tyson Fury myself. Deontay Wilder is actually. People.
The Bronze
People always have this
Bomber.
thing like, I go for the American. I just go for people who I don't know, who I just like. It's a personality thing for me. And Deontay Wilder is an American, and Tyson Fury is from
Russia.
Is that what it was?
Pretty sure
Yeah.
he's Russian.
Yeah. So he's
Russia or British?
I don't think it's Russia because they
I
call
think
him
it might be
they
London.
call him the Gypsy King. I think he's from London.
Is he?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But either way, he's not from
Maybe
the
I
United
don't know my
States.
flags as
And so
well as I
in my heart was like, I wanted to go for Tyson Fury just because I like his like, he's got that Conor McGregor type of vibe. He just talks shit.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he's
You
a
know?
straight
And I love it.
baller.
Yeah.
Like,
And
ahead.
what I thought was crazy about it is that Deontay Wilder was actually like a nobody before he actually fought Fury the first time. And the whole thing was that Wilder would just really just called out Fury. He was calling out all these big name boxers to try to get his name out there, and it happened. The first time they fought, this is the second time they fought. The first time they fought was a draw. The second time they fought, Tyson Fury destroyed Deontay Wilder.
but that first fight, Wilder knocked Fury down, like knocked him
That was
practically
early on.
Yeah, that was early
unconscious.
on.
And even at the after interview, Fury even told them like, I was completely out practically. Like,
Yeah.
as soon as I heard a count of 5 or 6, I had 4 seconds to get up, and I did.
So-
And it became a draw.
Let me.
Like, that's crazy.
I followed the first fight and this fight really, really deeply, actually, for the first time in boxing that I've ever followed anything. I just looked it up. Tyson Fury is from Wythenshawe,
Other than Jake Paul.
UK.
Okay.
The UK.
Yeah, but their first fight was the first one I really tracked. And the first fight, what had happened was Tyson Fury just came off like a 5-year. He went through
He
like
lost, like,
2
60
years.
pounds.
He was also like addicted to
He
drugs
went through
and
like
everything.
2 years
Yeah.
of being addicted to drugs. He became a lineal heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
He went through like 2 years of becoming addicted to drugs, didn't fight, didn't box, didn't do anything publicly. He became the champion, and his story is his entire life, all he wanted was to become the heavyweight champion. Lineal heavyweight champion of the world. He said when he got it, he said, and this gave me chills, dude, when I was listening to this interview. He said, my entire life, I knew that I had the anxiety, the mental depression, the demons in the back of my head. He said, but the goal of becoming heavyweight champion got me up every single morning, put me in the gym, put me in that mindset. He said, the second I got it and I knew that I had made it to what I had been working for my entire life, I had nothing to block the demons anymore because I made it.
Yeah.
And when that happened, he said he went on a 2-year bender of being addicted to drugs. And when he got clean, 3 years of depression.
It's that ultimate thing of like, you've reached the mountain peak. Mm-hmm. Where do you go from here?
So he,
The only way it
You
really
can't
goes
stay
down.
at the
Top?
Right.
And
There's
Do you
nothing
stay at the
left.
top and enjoy
And you
the view,
see that a
or
lot.
do you fall down?
You see that in a lot, especially like combat sports. Look at Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor was on his. He
He's
was
out
at the
here
peak of the
punching, like,
sport,
65-year-old men.
and then he lost to Khabib, and then it was sort of downhill from there. Even before Khabib, it was sort of downhill from there with all the legal issues and stuff. Now he's working his way back up, of course, which I love. But it just happens in sports in general, and actually in everyday life.
But
I'm not even just going to.
let me not let us get us off Tyson Deontay first, though, so I want to wrap it back around. So when they fought the first time, that was his first fight back.
Yeah.
And he had told everyone, he said, I literally came out of a manic depression that lasted nearly 3 years after coming clean of addiction, and I've trained for 4 months.
Yeah.
He said, and if he struggled that hard to draw me by decision when I was 15% of the man I normally am, he doesn't stand a chance
Oh, yeah.
for our rematch. And he proved it. I mean, he was knocking Deontay down with body shots.
Yeah,
dude.
he did. So this is
Like over.
That's the
and
difference
over
between the two.
So if you
Wilder comes out just throwing hands most of the time. And do you watch his fights? A lot of his power shots, they're wild. They don't actually like.
That's why they call him Wilder. No, I'm just kidding.
They connect, but at the same time, there's no like thought process in it. It's like haymakers being thrown. Fury,
Yeah.
he'll sit there, he'll eat those shots, but at the same time, he's picking his shots, whether it's a body shot, uppercut, haymaker, like taking those little shots bit by bit that depleted Fury completely, or Wilder completely.
What So if you guys didn't actually see the fight, I'll give you sort of a quick breakdown. Pretty much this is what happened. The first round, Tyson Fury knocked him down. Okay, knocked Wilder down. After that, pretty much Wilder just looked like he literally looked like he was drunk the entire time after that first round. So he got knocked down in the first round, and for the fight went 7 rounds. So for the next 6 rounds, Wilder just literally he was staggering across the mat and the ring. Mm-hmm. It literally looked like he was like a guy that was in there just like drunk, like
No spark in
you know,
his
like that
eyes
kind of
at
stuff. He was
all.
trying to throw, but then 7th round, Fury actually hit him with a body shot. You could tell it stunned him, like hit him right in the gut, and he just like had this like, oh god, that messed me up. And then he hit him a couple times in the face, and at that point, his
team threw in the
Wilder's corner threw in the
Because
towel.
Tyson had him backed into a corner too.
Yeah,
It got to the
tearing
point
him
where
up.
when you know as your team to throw in the towels when your person can't keep their gloves
Yeah.
above their face. The guy literally couldn't get his hands up and he was just
I
taking
mean,
them.
you see fights where guys are just destroying other guys, but it's never that big of an anticipated match.
Yeah.
You know, a full-on pay-per-view, usually it's like undercard stuff, where some guy who's just really good beating on somebody else. But this was a premier pay-per-view. Everybody's watching. Celebrities are going. They're wanting to watch this fight. And he just literally made him look like he was an amateur in a professional
And let me say
boxing
2
game.
things real quick. My last 2 tidbits on the fight. A, if you look at the age difference and the conditioning difference, Deontay Wilder looks like a machine.
Oh, he does.
Tyson Fury looks like a 6'4" guy with a dad bod.
Yeah, he does.
yeah.
He
He
has
really
got
does.
a crazy dad.
He
bod.
really does. And so it's crazy to think that he's just better that much technically at boxing, and it really shows that boxing is more so chess
It's a
than it is a
technical.
street
Yeah,
fight.
it's a chess
Also,
thing.
ladies, dad bods are in.
They are.
That's true. Two, my last thing about the fight, I just want to say real quick, and what a lot of people aren't talking about, is for some reason or another, these two men, Deontay Wilder, who was undefeated in over 50% of his fights by KO, straight up KO. I think he was undefeated. If not, he's lost like a
But he
couple.
was fighting like nobody.
In most of his pro career, he was the WBC heavyweight champion of the
The only
world, so he didn't
loss
fight
he
anybody.
technically had was the draw.
And he that's what I'm saying. He was undefeated and he had the WBC heavyweight championship of the world. So you can't say he was fighting nobodies. Towards the most
We got to
recently.
think about the weight class. The weight class was trash. Those are like while Tyson's like the Fury's like the one guy. There's really like nobody. There's was it Anthony? I can't think of his name, but
Anthony Joshua,
Joshua, yeah,
Who was avoided. A lot of people
he's
say
a guy,
was ducking
but
Wilder.
he did not. Yeah,
which
And then
AJ
lost.
actually
I mean, I'm
just
not-
got knocked out by some other guy.
Andy Ruiz.
Andy Ruiz like got knocked out. They rematched, and then Anthony Joshua knocked his
yeah.
ass out.
So we'll have to.
I
find
didn't see that.
time.
I didn't hear what
They
happened. in the
rematched just because it was also talks in like Anthony Joshua's camp. He got knocked out while sparring, so his mind wasn't right going into the fight. And then after Ruiz won, he kind of didn't really go to training, didn't do the stuff that he had to in his camp. So when he came to fight time, he looked like a piece of shit. So that's inevitably his doom when he actually came into the ring. So that's why Anthony Joshua took his title back because of that. And then now it's talks where Fury wants to fight AJ.
Well,
Yeah.
Fury has wanted to fight, or not Fury. Deontay Wilder has wanted to fight AJ for a couple years now, and a lot of people say AJ was ducking him. He was like, every time it got brought up, he was like, like a lot of people were saying he was scared to fight him. And why not? You have a guy who's undefeated, over 50% by KOs, and he honestly was a beast. And what I wanted to say, to get my last point out, was these two guys, Tyson and Deontay Wilder, and with the help of AJ and Andy Ruiz was a big story, but those 3-4 guys has brought in a light to boxing that has not been there in a long time. A lot of people say it's starting to blow up.
and
again.
Mayweather coming into the picture, whether it's like some random.
But
fight.
but then even like after that, it was like whoop, ratings went way down. Like everyone stopped watching. They watched that one pay per view, but now it's like people are starting to follow it, get back into it. You know what it is? It's really just because the last time we've seen an explosiveness like this in the ratings for boxing was the last time there was like a dynamic heavyweight fight. The heavyweights are what bring people to boxing. When you have guys who are 240, 270 pounds, 6'3", 6'5", and they're knocking each other around, throwing a punch that could end the other person's life in one punch, you're training people who are literally monsters how to fight.
Their hands are certified
Lethal
weapons.
weapons.
They're lethal
Yeah.
weapons.
That's also another thing. I'm pretty sure Wilder was taken to the hospital after the match just because of maybe like concussion protocol or whatever it is. Anything that can happen in that fight will happen, whether it's brain damage,
You take that many hits to
aneurysm,
the
anything.
face.
Exactly.
And a lot of people-
anything can happen during a fight. They are combat sports.
What I like
athletes.
and what I like about Joe Rogan's take on boxing lately, a lot of people say boxing is less interesting to watch because you can't get taken to the ground, you can't wrestle, you can't jiu-jitsu, you can't head kick, you
all
can't spinning
technical.
elbow. But what Joe Rogan has started to say now, which kind of like opened me up to it, and the reason why I started watching it again, was he said, yes, that's true. And him being a UFC guy himself, obviously, he prefers MMA. He's a black belt in BJJ. He's, he does that kind of stuff. But he says yes. But instead of thinking about it as a sport that doesn't have these things, thinking about it as a sport that got all those things taken from it, these people are told they can only use this one form, and what can they do against each other with just that form? Instead of being able to do anything. I think it makes it a lot more technical
Yeah, it does.
than being able to spinning elbow somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I mean, I get that. I do really get that. It just makes, as a spectator,
It's a little more-
very boring to me.
It can be.
It,
really have
it
to
depends.
understand
It
it.
depends on the
Yeah.
fighters, but like I've tried to, and like other than like Mike Tyson and like watching like the Fury fight and stuff. Like Mike Tyson was fun to watch because he would just freaking.
Ass.
It's also-
it was like he could knock people out with just a body. He's done it. Tyson would just
Exactly.
knock somebody out with a
There
body
are
shot.
those special
you know, so it's like guys who have freak strength like
Mike
that.
Tyson.
But then it's like when it
Tyson,
comes,
Ali.
my thing is like I've never been a Mayweather fan because Mayweather is such a defensive fighter and it's just boring to watch.
But also
Yeah.
probably the best boxer in the history of the world.
well, yeah, but
Undefeated.
record wise, Now, record-wise.
No, period. A lot of people say.
Record-wise.
A lot of people say no matter. No.
Technicality.
No,
It's
how
because
he
he's a
fights.
defensive fighter
You
that
are
drives me
assuming
nuts.
it is because
That's why he's
it's
undefeated.
because
I
boxing
know,
is
but
a
that's what I'm
technical
saying.
sport, and he is the most technically
Well,
inclined
he's a technical
boxer
guy,
to ever fight.
and it drives me nuts. And but that's what I'm saying. It's as a spectator, that's why it's not appealing to me because it spectator-wise, it's just not an appealing thing to me. I want to see people go in there and like brawl it out almost, but also, you're not in MMA. You're not just brawling. There are obviously is an art form to it. You know what I mean, or technicality. But it's just like more because even like I was watching some not an amateur. It was a professional fight, but it was just some fight that was on the other day. I was having to flip through the channels, or whatever, and it was like they would literally like punch twice and then hug each other. Ref would come in, break them up, punch once, hug each other. Ref would come in and break them up, punch once or twice, come in and hug each other.
Yeah.
It's way too much hugging, and it drives me nuts.
There is a lot of that, which Joe Rogan actually has expressed. The weight classes are very distinct. There's too many weight jumps. There shouldn't be as many few weight classes as there is. There's only maybe a handful of 5 to 10 when there should be around 20 based off of increments of 5 to 10 instead of
Well, that's what the
10 to
UFC
20.
does. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's usually 10, 15 pounds or
You'd
something.
see a lot of different class and a lot of different training if you had the open weight classes that should be there instead of the defined one. Because a lot of people struggle with cutting weight,
Well, you gotta
trying
think-
to get into
you also got-
their prime, having that camp.
Take this fight for the Wilder and Fury fight. Fury outweighed Wilder by I think it was 30 something pounds. Yeah. It was Wilder was I don't know the exact number, but I'm just saying it was he was 220 and Fury weighed 260. It was ridiculous, man.
Well, it's because, and actually the UFC does do this. Joe Rogan had just said that it's not as the way it works in the UFC and probably boxing is once you get to it, you have your heavyweight and you have your super heavyweight.
Yeah.
And if you ever played a fighting game, you know there were super heavyweight fighters. And what that means is your heavyweight could be 225 to 240. Super heavyweight is 241 plus.
Yeah.
They're done making that because there's not enough people above
Hey guys,
240.
I'm out of beer. I mean coffee.
Yeah, that stinks. We're almost done here. But the point is you don't have enough guys at 250, between 250 and 260, between 260 and 270 to divide them up in different weight classes. So it's 240 plus, and if you can't cut under 240, you might be fighting what's his name? Butterbean.
Yeah.
You might be fighting old
Butterbean.
Butterbean. Man, my guy had some hands, dude.
He did.
He had some hands.
Yeah.
So
Do we have any more topics?
no,
That's it.
the episode's about over. I have to go get Rebecca. Why? Do you have anything you want to talk about?
No, I just wanted to liven the mood. We got super serious there. We got to end on a positive note at some point,
Well,
and on something happy, something funny.
tell us the craziest thing you've ever seen in any of the concerts you've been to that you've seen
Oh.
people do. Spectators,
Oh
not
my goodness! For my New Year's show, I went down to Louisville and saw Bass Nectar. It's the guy on my hat. Went and saw his concert. Me and my friend, we were not sober to say the least. We decided to walk around a little bit. We're walking down this rampway, and we see a girl strapped to a chair coming through, trying to bite at everybody, totally freaking out.
What the
They put
hell?
a mask over her because she was spitting on the police officers and everything that were trying to
Hannibal
take care
Lecter.
of her. And
That's what I was
me and my friend are sitting there what just happened?
What
Oh my goodness. It was a very terrifying experience, and I hope that I never am the one in the chair.
Well, then when you have a bunch of people that are doing all sorts of different things to not be in a sober mindset, some of them are probably really freaking out. Like this chick's a zombie.
Oh, literally. Yeah. There's enhancing reality, and then there's trying to escape it. There's a very big difference there.
Right.
And she was trying to escape it, and it didn't go well for her. Let me tell you.
Speaking of concerts, what I'm super pumped about, the Black Keys are coming to Columbus in the summer, and I'm excited. They're actually an Ohio native. They're from Akron, Ohio.
I get to see
World famous band.
Tenacious D.
Oh, dude, that'd be
Oh,
sick.
Jack Black.
I can't wait.
Come to town.
He's gonna be at
gladly come
Bonnaroo.
see you.
He's gonna be at Bonnaroo this year.
Oh, really?
And I'm going to
Really?
see Tenacious D. My friends don't believe me. I will be on the rail. 'Cause you don't know my dad. My dad is Jack Black, basically. So I'm very excited for this one.
Yeah. No, it's
All
funny.
right.
So, I asked Corey the craziest thing he's ever seen at a concert, and he said a chick in a wheelchair that turned to a zombie and was trying to bite everybody. So that's going to wrap it up for episode 12 of Buzzed In. And this is
have to
part
hear
2.
about that story.
The end of part 2, episode 12, Buzzed In.
Just want to say thank you all for having me today. It was
yeah.
a
Thank
pleasure
you for coming out.
being on the show. Hopefully I can get on some more.
Thanks for coming on
It
the
was
show.
a great time.
I appreciate it. Hopefully you can come on in the future.
Yeah,
and
anytime
maybe
you're in town, feel free.
Yeah.
we could have a 4th person on the show from time to time. We'll start looking into it. I know Jay, our friend Jay, Sama LV, Glico Sama, Chief Sama, whatever you know him by, just dropped an EP. And we'll link that in the description. Actually, you guys should go check that out.
Definitely.
Really, and I'll tell you, and I told him this too. I said,
Great
whatever you want to
producer.
call. I said, whatever you want to call the genre of hip hop, the sort of music that you're making. I said, I don't normally like mainstream artists and their music like that. I said, but I really liked your project. It was produced really well. It sounded really well. You had a track on there named after 614. That was cool. So go check that out. That'll be linked down in the description below.
Definitely been grinding.
But that is the end of part 2 for episode 12. C-Dub, Corey, Panda, thank you again for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure.
And that'll do it
Nappy
for
out.
part 2. So episode 13 coming next week. And until then,
Stay
buzzed
buzzed
in.
in.
Stay buzzed in.